Hey guys, I hope you're having an amazing day. Thank you so much for those of you who have continued to tune in every week, and all of my subscribers. I am truly grateful for all of you. Welcome to episode 6. We're going to be talking about forgiveness. One of the most important and most life-altering lessons I've learned in my entire life is the power of forgiveness. This episode is probably my all-time favorite because my entire life opened up when I learned how to truly forgive. You know, a lot of us think we know how to forgive, but in all actuality, we've probably been doing it all wrong. Now, I must warn you guys, because this concept is going to require you to have a very open mind, but I promise you it truly works. We can all agree that we've all been hurt before, or have at least experienced some wrongdoing from another person in some shape or form. Well, what if I told you that the only reason this happened to you is because you wanted it to? Now wait, before you deny it, let me explain. So the people and situations that come into our lives only come because there is something in our energy field that is attracting them to us. When I first began my forgiveness journey, I had just come out of a relationship that I realized I had actually attracted due to the lack of a relationship that I had with my dad. I had never experienced true love from him, and although I thought it didn't affect me, it did. And I attracted that same lack of love in a romantic relationship and ended up depressed and lonely and completely dismantled after making some of the craziest and hardest decisions I've ever had to make in my entire life. I remember when I was a sophomore in college, I ended up finding out I was pregnant for my boyfriend at the time, who told me that he wasn't ready and to get rid of it. And he stole my money and blocked my number and let me get evicted from my apartment and went back to his old girlfriend. And all I could think of at the moment was if my dad felt the same way about me when my mom found out she was pregnant at that same age. My dad completely disappeared before I was born, and years later I found out that it was because he had a whole wife and that I had a sister that was 5 days older than me. And even though for many years I tried to pretend that it didn't affect me, deep down inside I always wondered why he didn't want to meet me, why he didn't love me, why he left me. And I attracted the exact same situation in my boyfriend at the time. And it led me to make one of the hardest decisions I have ever made in my life. And after days of anxiety and depression and hating myself and blaming my boyfriend, I remember going to see Cow Chin and I was bawling in tears. And he looked at me and he said, "Lady, why you cry? You do nothing wrong. Your future's still the same. Where your papa?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "You look just like him. You need to learn how to forgive." And it was crazy because I thought I had already done that. But actually, I had just convinced myself that not having my dad in my life wasn't a big deal. And I always pretended to be stronger than I actually was just so people wouldn't feel bad for me. And I honestly just suppressed a lot of my true emotions about the situation. But because I never truly healed them, I attracted more of the same stuff in my other relationships. So that day, I remember going home and I Googled how to truly forgive. And I came across this amazing website called wellbeingalignment.com, and it changed my life. What I thought was going to be a journey of forgiving others actually turned into a journey of me forgiving myself. I discovered this amazing forgiveness meditation, and the first step was figuring out what in me wanted this to happen. Now, of course, it was very hard for me to wrap my mind around this question, because how on earth could I come up with a reason as to why I didn't want to have my dad in my life? But the more I pondered, the more clear it became. I started to think about all of the amazing things that came from my dad's absence, like the fact that I had became very close to God at such a young age because he was the only father that I knew. Like, I literally used to believe that I was like Jesus, the light in the way, at the age of 5, because we both didn't have dads. My name, Brianna, literally means strong descendant of the great creator, and it's the female version of my dad's name, Brian. My mom's name, Terenthia Maria, literally means mother, and I couldn't help but think of the ways in which she went above and beyond to spoil me and expand my worldview by bringing me on trips all around the world from a young age so that I wouldn't feel any lack or look for a man to do those things for me like she did when she was 19 and ended up pregnant and alone. And here I was in that same situation. And then I started to think about the fact that I actually had 3 father figures instead of just one, and how lucky I was because all of my uncles poured their love into me to replace the absence of my dad and to make sure I felt loved. And for that, I am so thankful. And finally, I realized that the amazing, omniscient, independent, enlightened, confident woman that I have grown to be would not exist if I had my dad in my life. I mean, my life would be completely different. I have had opportunities to experience things that most people only dream of due to his absence. And I began to forgive myself for not understanding God's plan for my life and for the decisions I made based on that lack of understanding. So from there, I began to thank him for not being there, because the life that I lived wouldn't have existed if he was in my life. So I released both myself and my dad from all blame, and I did the same for my ex-boyfriend because I was able to come to terms with the fact that they were just mere vessels that God was using to heal my traumas and release my past in order to achieve true happiness and enlightenment and to find my purpose. And the amazing thing about forgiveness is that it isn't just about letting the other person off the hook, because it's not for them. It's for you to let yourself off the hook, to literally stop killing yourself. When you harbor deep hate and anger for someone, it affects you far more than it affects them. And quite frankly, you will keep attracting more and more situations that stem from that unhealed pain dwelling inside of you. So do it for you. And I promise you, people will begin to reflect greater things back to you. I will never forget when I finally saw my ex-boyfriend again for the first time. It was when I first moved to California, and he couldn't figure out why I didn't hate him. Why was I being so nice to him after all he had put me through? He even started to do all of these nice things for me to make up for the past, and I realized that I was now attracting a whole new version of him because I no longer had that deep resentment and hate inside of me. I had released all of that unhealed pain through this forgiveness meditation, so he was showing me a better, higher version of himself as well. So guys, I promise you, this forgiveness meditation is such an amazing, life-altering technique, and I can't wait for you guys to try it. So this week, actually right now, if you have the time, I like to challenge everyone to choose one person that you feel has done you wrong in some way and try out this forgiveness meditation that I'm going to share with you in just a few moments. I know for a fact that this works, and the amazing part is the entire conversation of forgiveness happens in the spiritual realm, so you don't even have to be face-to-face with the person, but you will see the results here in the physical world. They might come and apologize, they might send you a message, but most importantly, you will feel the complete release of the baggage you've been holding and start to attract better from your relationships. Depending on how deep the pain is, you may have to do the meditation more than once, but it will work. I mean, I do it for the smallest situations now. Like if someone just does the smallest thing, I'm like, let me do this forgiveness meditation. And the funny thing is, people do crazy things to me and they expect me to be upset about it, but when I'm not, they're confused. So you guys should really try it out. It will give you your power back over your life. And if you feel so inclined, please comment below or email me at allsouls.sacred@gmail.com with any questions, comments, or realization, because I'd love to hear from you about this week's topic. It's one of my all-time favorites. Like I said, it completely changed my life. I've been so much happier since I learned how to truly forgive. Stay right there. In just a few seconds, I will share the forgiveness meditation that will, without a doubt, change your life forever. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to week 6 meditation on forgiveness. Before we begin, get into one of the positions pictured on the screen. Gently place your hands in your lap with your palms facing up and your more dominant hand on top, and connect your thumbs as pictured on the screen. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breathing without trying to change it in any way. As you breathe in, be aware that you are breathing in. As you breathe out, be aware that you are breathing out. Stay in the present moment. If you notice that your thoughts begin to wander off, just bring your attention back to your breathing without faulting yourself. Notice how good it feels to have air coming into your lungs and how relaxing it is to let it out. Refrain from trying to control your breath by pulling the air in or pushing it out, and let your body breathe all by itself, in its own way, at its own pace. By not trying to change our breathing, we offer ourselves acceptance. We allow ourselves to be just as we are. Imagine that the air that you are breathing in is love itself, surrounding us, flowing through us, and keeping us alive. Now imagine that there is a table in front of you, given to you to lay all of your burdens on. Give up all ideas of who you think you are, who you want to be, or who someone else thinks you are or should be. Let it all go. Put it all on the table with the rest of your burdens. Now, before we begin the forgiveness healing, we must first arrive at a place where our peace and happiness is more important than being right and making the other person wrong. Learning to forgive others is for our own healing, because in reality, there is only one being in the world, and it is us. We are all one, connected forever. Whether we appear to forgive someone else out in the world or ourselves, it is all us. Now begin to think of one person that you would like to forgive. Imagine that this person is in front of you. See this person as you would usually see them, whatever your perception is of them. Now imagine that the form and the role they have played in your life is dissolving right before your eyes. Now imagine that they reappear as
them as the inner Christ or Buddha, the awakened light that we truly are. Imagine that you too are pure, awakened light. See yourself as light, and then see the other person through the eyes of the awakened light that you both are. Repeat the following phrases. You are not the cause of my suffering. I made up my perception of you in an attempt to make you wrong and guilty instead of me. But neither of us are wrong or guilty. I am light, pure and innocent. You are also light, innocent and pure. All is forgiven and released. Thank you for bringing my inner turmoils into awareness so that I can take responsibility for it and release it. I am sorry for harboring separating thoughts that have created suffering for both of us. You and I are one with God and each other. I release you to your wholeness. I forgive you. I forgive myself, and I give you permission to forgive me and to forgive yourself. By letting the other person be exactly as they are and attending to the hurt energies within yourself, forgiveness happens naturally and organically. You may have to repeat the process 2 or 3 more times, but be patient and keep at it. Even if it feels weird or doesn't make sense, I urge you to keep trying it anyway. Eventually, you will arrive at a place where you have completely healed the relationship. And when you think of this person, you will feel a neutral, gentle, warm feeling of well-being. And if at any point you actually are in the same space with this person, you will still be able to stay with yourself in a loving way, which enables you to be with them with love also.